Low rumble of thunder, radio static, wind howling across open sea. It begins with silence. A silence so heavy, it feels like the ocean itself has stopped breathing. The coordinates read, Flight 19, December 5, 1945. 5 U.S. Navy Avenger bombers glide low over the Atlantic, training on a routine mission. The sky is clear, the sea calm, and then, one by one, their voices vanish into static. FT-28, this is base. Do you read me? Silence. Nothing. Within minutes, radio operators in Florida panic. Experienced pilots, trained in war, gone without a trace. No mayday, no debris, no bodies. Just the empty ocean stretching endlessly to the horizon. That night, search planes combed the waters. One rescue aircraft and a massive PBM Mariner also disappeared without a signal. 14 men vanished, then 13 more, 27 souls consumed by the sea. What happened out there? Silence. Low hum of waves. This is where our story begins. The Bermuda Triangle. A mysterious stretch of ocean between Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico. A patch of water so infamous that sailors whispered it had no mercy, no logic, no explanation. For decades, it would be called the Devil's Triangle. A place where compasses spun out of control, where skies shifted color, where ships entered and never returned. But the truth, as we'll uncover, is far stranger than fiction. Wind intensifies. Because behind this legend lies a trail of lost ships, missing aircraft, government secrets, and a web of scientific anomalies that challenge everything we think we know about our planet. But before we unravel the science, before we expose what truly hides beneath those waters, we must go back, centuries, to where the curse began. Thunder crackles. Long before modern pilots and explorers vanished, this part of the Atlantic was feared by ancient sailors. The Spanish called it La Boca del Diablo, the devil's mouth. The indigenous people of the Caribbean told stories of a triangle of death, guarded by vengeful spirits of the sea. In 1492, when Christopher Columbus crossed these same waters on his way to the New World, he noted something strange in his journal. Strange lights in the distance, compasses behaving erratically. His crew grew restless. They whispered of demons under the sea pulling ships into darkness. Was it myth? Or was Columbus among the first to glimpse the strange forces that lurked here? Over the centuries, hundreds of ships vanished in these waters, from merchant vessels to luxury liners. Some reported time distortions, others electrical malfunctions, and a very few, claimed to have seen the sea glow with a pale, unnatural light before being swallowed whole. But the modern world needed logic. The Navy, the Coast Guard, the scientists, all dismissed these tales. Navigation errors, they said. Storms. Human mistakes. Yet, the disappearances continued. One case stands out. The story of the USS Cyclops, 1918. A massive naval cargo ship carrying over 300 men and 10,000 tons of manganese ore. It vanished en route from Barbados to Baltimore, without a distress call, without debris. President Woodrow Wilson said, "Only God and the sea know what happened to the great ship." 300 lives gone, in peacetime. By the mid-20th century, the Bermuda Triangle wasn't just a maritime mystery. It became a symbol of something deeper, human fear of the unknown. Gentle rain begins. Then came the jet age. Faster planes, better instruments, stronger technology. Humanity was confident, arrogant even. The ocean, they believed, could no longer hide its secrets. But the triangle wasn't done. Soft underwater ambience to muffled currents rolling. The ocean remembers everything. Every ship that sank, every scream swallowed by the tide, every light that flickered before fading into black. And in the silence beneath the surface of the Bermuda Triangle, something ancient sleeps. For years, divers and researchers whispered of structures below the sea floor. Strange geometric formations too precise to be natural. Smooth limestone blocks aligned perfectly, corridors carved into coral, staircases leading into darkness. It was dismissed as myth. Until one day in 1968, a pilot flying over the Bahamas saw something through the shallow turquoise water that changed everything. Wind over propeller. Below him lay a pattern. Rectangular blocks stretching in a perfect line, almost like a highway built by giants. The pilot reported it. Soon after, divers arrived. Cameras rolled. What they discovered came to be known as the Bimini Road. Hundreds of massive stones neatly aligned, forming what looked like a man-made causeway leading straight into the ocean's heart. Some said it was a natural formation, ancient beach rock fractured by waves. But others, including marine archaeologists, disagreed. The edges were too clean, the arrangement too intentional, and when carbon dating revealed the stones were over 10,000 years old, long before any known civilization had reached that level of engineering. The whispers began. Could this be the lost city of Atlantis? Soft chime echoing underwater. Plato wrote of a great civilization, a utopia of knowledge and power, swallowed by the sea in a single day and night of misfortune. He placed it beyond the Pillars of Hercules, near the Atlantic Ocean. For centuries, historians dismissed it as allegory. But what if it wasn't? What if Atlantis was real, and the Bermuda Triangle sits upon its grave? Silence. Scientists began to test the theory. In the 1970s, a group of researchers from the University of Miami conducted magnetic scans near Bimini. The readings were disturbing. Intense fluctuations, pulses of energy inconsistent with the Earth's magnetic baseline. Something down there was alive, not in the biological sense, but in the electromagnetic. And the deeper they went, the stronger it became. Deep bass hum. The ocean floor in this region isn't stable. It's fractured by fault lines and dotted with methane pockets. But beneath those layers, sonar mapping revealed something no one could explain. Enormous metallic anomalies buried under sediment, each perfectly symmetrical, each emitting faint radio frequencies. A discovery that was quickly classified. Reports vanished, funding pulled, researchers silenced. Those who spoke publicly were ridiculed. A few lost their jobs, a few their lives. Soft current drifts. Still, fragments of truth escaped. Divers who ventured too deep spoke of hearing strange sounds, rhythmic vibrations like chanting or machinery. Compasses would spin wildly. Digital instruments would fail. One diver described a column of light rising from the ocean floor. A beam so bright it pierced the water like dawn breaking through midnight. Moments later, his camera shut off. The light disappeared. He surfaced shaking, crying, unable to explain what he had seen. Wind fades into hollow silence. What if the Bermuda Triangle isn't just a place of disappearance, but a gateway? Ancient myths across cultures describe a similar event. Civilizations destroyed not by divine wrath but by their own ambition. The Atlanteans, the Lemurians, even pre-Incan legends speak of a power source drawn from the earth, a crystalline energy that sustained life, healed disease, and bent nature to their will. But power corrupts. And perhaps long ago, this civilization's own technology triggered the cataclysm that drowned them. If that technology still lies beneath the sea, could it still be active? Low electrical pulse. A classified 1983 U.S. Navy report hinted at the possibility. It described recurring electromagnetic emissions of non-terrestrial pattern near the Bahamas, matching the same signature detected by NASA in 1977. In plain language, the same frequency that pulsed like a heartbeat. Coincidence or the awakening of something long buried? Meanwhile, local Bahamian fishermen told stories passed down for generations. On calm nights, they said, the sea would glow, a soft blue light moving beneath their boats, silent and deliberate, as if watching them. They called it the eye of the sea, gentle wave echoes. Scientists from Japan and France later detected microbubbles and electromagnetic discharges in the same region, proof that something beneath the seabed was releasing both energy and gas. Energy and gas, the combination capable of making ships vanish, instruments fail, and time itself distort. Because when electromagnetic pulses collide with methane bursts under high pressure, the laws of physics bend. Time dilates, space folds. For a few fleeting moments, reality becomes thin, whispering static. It would explain the pilots who reported cloud walls appearing out of nowhere, walls that shimmered, flashed, and then enveloped their planes. It would explain why some vessels sent final radio messages describing a strange fog before their signal was cut. It would explain how one pilot in 1970, Bruce Jernan, flew through a bright tunnel-like cloud and emerged hundreds of miles away in minutes. He had crossed time. NASA quietly studied his radar data. They found evidence of what they later termed a space-time vortex, a distortion of the atmosphere created by electromagnetic interference. And it happened inside the Bermuda Triangle. Soft heartbeat returns. If the ancient civilization beneath those waters once harnessed that same energy, it could have given them immense power, and ultimately destroyed them. A power source capable of altering time, magnetism, even consciousness itself. Imagine a crystal lattice deep below the seafloor, damaged, leaking energy in waves. Each surge strong enough to disorient ships, pull aircraft off course, or open momentary rifts between dimensions. It sounds impossible, yet every piece of data, every disappearance, points toward one truth. The Bermuda Triangle is not a curse, it is a machine. Silence. And like all machines left unattended for too long, it's starting to fail. Muffled metallic creak. In 1997, sonar teams recorded a massive tremor beneath the triangle. The readings lasted 6 minutes. The sound, captured accidentally by NOAA, resembled a groan, deep and organic, unlike any geological event on record. The next day, 3 vessels vanished. Coincidence again? Or did something awaken? Low hum grows louder. As technology advanced, governments began deploying deep-sea probes, satellites, and magnetic sensors to map the triangle's depths. Publicly, these missions were labeled geological surveys. Privately, they were called Project Poseidon. Their goal, to locate and contain whatever lay beneath. But the deeper they sent their machines, the more they lost contact. Data corrupted, cameras froze. The same rhythmic pulsamica, the same heartbeat, kept appearing in every file. Then, in 2014, a probe recorded something extraordinary, a symmetrical structure half buried in sediment, stretching nearly half a kilometer wide. The readings indicated high concentrations of iridium, a metal rarely found on Earth's surface, but common in meteorites. Was it part of an asteroid impact or an artificial construct? Deep metallic tone reverberates. We may never know, because within hours of that discovery, the data was seized by military intelligence. The team was reassigned, the files erased. But a single frame leaked, a photograph of what appeared to be a dome-shaped structure with carvings along its rim, carvings resembling waves and eyes. An ancient warning, perhaps. Whisper of current intensifies. And so the legend of Atlantis, once dismissed as fantasy, merges with modern science. A civilization that mastered the planet's electromagnetic core, destroyed itself, and left behind a wounded, unstable relic, the Bermuda Triangle. But here's the haunting part. Every few decades, the activity increases. The energy spikes, the disappearances rise, and strange phenomena return, as if the machine beneath the ocean is rebooting. And when it doesn't just affect the sea, it affects time itself. Soft ticking begins, faint and irregular, because somewhere, deep beneath the waves, something ancient is stirring again. A pulse that grows stronger, a signal that repeats, waiting for someone, or something, to answer. And that answer is coming soon. Ominous swell of music. Next, we follow the scientists who tried to decode the signal and disappeared trying to uncover the truth. Fade into static. Low mechanical hum, soft beeping, sonar pinging in the distance. The year is 1999, the dawn of a new millennium. Humanity stands at the edge of unimaginable progress. Satellites, quantum research, artificial intelligence. We've mapped the stars, sequenced the genome, peered into the atom itself. And yet, one small patch of ocean between Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico continues to defy everything we know. Slow wave crash. By now, governments around the world have data, radar footage, classified electromagnetic readings, and satellite scans, but none of it makes sense. The Bermuda Triangle behaves like a living organism. Its electromagnetic field fluctuates in rhythms, cycles, as though breathing. At the height of these pulses, ships vanish, aircraft instruments fail, and time itself seems to stretch. And then, silence. That silence haunted one man more than anyone else, Dr. Elias Verne, a theoretical physicist once employed by NASA's magnetosphere division, soft ticking clock. He had spent years studying anomalies in the Atlantic, subtle ripples in the planet, as geomagnetic current that seemed to converge precisely over the Bermuda Triangle. He called it the pulse. In interviews, Verne spoke calmly, almost coldly, about his theory. He believed that beneath the ocean lay a geothermal reactor, a natural power source harnessing the Earth's molten core. It produced an electromagnetic resonance so powerful that it bent light, gravity, and time. But when Verne submitted his findings, NASA rejected them. The data, they said, was inconclusive. Weeks later, Verne resigned and disappeared. Wind gusts softly through corridors. His colleagues assumed he'd left the country. Until 3 months later, the U.S. Coast Guard recovered a wrecked research vessel near the edge of the triangle. Inside, they found his notebook. Its last entry read, "The pulse is not natural. It's calling something." Silence. Soon after, whispers spread of a private expedition. Scientists, ex-NASA technicians, even a few military contractors, all hired under the same name, Project Echo. Their goal, to locate the source of the electromagnetic surge once and for all. In 2003, they launched from Fort Lauderdale aboard a research ship named Helios 9. 31 people on board. Only one returned. Soft static. His name was David Keller, a communications engineer. He was found adrift 2 weeks later, dehydrated, barely conscious, clutching a waterlogged hard drive. He claimed Helios 9 had discovered something, a massive metal object rising from the sea floor, radiating heat and energy. When they tried to scan it, the ocean around them began to vibrate. Compasses spun, electronics failed, and a light storm erupted beneath the water. A vortex. The sky folded, Keller said. The stars bent inward like we were inside a mirror. Then, everything went black. When he woke, he was alone, floating miles from the site. Deep bass thrum. The hard drive was analyzed in secret by U.S. naval intelligence. Only one file could be recovered, a sound recording, a low-frequency pulse repeating every 7 seconds. When translated into sound waves, it resembled a heartbeat. Heartbeat begins, slow, heavy. Independent analysts confirmed the frequency matched the mysterious NASA signal from 1977, the same one Elias Verne had identified as the pulse. But here's where it becomes terrifying. The frequency wasn't constant, it was increasing. Whatever was beneath the ocean was waking up. Thunder rumbles. Over the next decade, disappearances spiked. Civilian flights diverted. Ships lost contact, then reappeared days later, their crews dazed, memories fragmented. One freighter, the SS Horizon Dawn, was discovered drifting with its cargo untouched, but every clock on board showed the wrong time. Each was 6 hours ahead, despite no one remembering the passage of those hours. A temporal anomaly. Scientists called it impossible. But to those studying the triangle, it was proof. Proof that the laws of time were breaking inside that region. And someone was watching. Soft, static, distant voice murmurs. Leaked documents later revealed that in 2011, an international coalition, US, Russia, Japan, created a covert task force named ARC, the Anomalous Research Coalition. Its purpose to investigate high-risk geophysical zones linked to electromagnetic distortions. The Bermuda Triangle was Zone 1A. They installed underwater sensors, satellites, and autonomous drones to record data continuously. Within months, one of their deep-sea drones vanished. Another returned, but its camera footage was corrupted except for the last 5 seconds. A glowing structure, hexagonal, immense, rotating slowly in the dark. The pulse was coming from it. Low mechanical hum grows louder. IRC sealed the footage, but one member of the coalition, a young physicist named Lina Ortega, leaked fragments to a journalist in London. Before the story could publish, Lina's apartment burned to the ground. No official cause determined. Silence. Her final email read, "The triangle is not natural. It's a wound. A wound in the planet," she said. A tear where energy, space, and consciousness bleed together. Theorists began connecting it to other global anomalies. The Dragon's Triangle near Japan, the Devil's Sea near the Philippines, and magnetic hot zones under the South Atlantic, all pulsing in synchronization every 27 years. That's the pattern ARC uncovered before their funding was cut. Every 27 years, global magnetic fields spike simultaneously, and at the center of every spike lies a triangle of disappearance. Could it be coincidence? Or were these remnants of an ancient planetary grid, a system once used to stabilize Earth's energy? Soft whispering static. One of the last scientists to study it publicly was Dr. Jonathan Mears, a geophysicist from Oxford. He theorized that the Bermuda Triangle sits on an electromagnetic meridian point, a junction of Earth's natural energy lines. If disturbed, he warned, it could release massive amounts of energy, even alter the planet's magnetic poles. He vanished during a routine survey flight over the Atlantic in 2015. The flight recorder was found weeks later. The last words on it: "The pulse is accelerating. Low tremor shakes the background." Satellite data confirmed it. Electromagnetic surges were now occurring weekly, not every 27 years. The Bermuda Triangle was destabilizing, and the deeper we looked, the clearer it became. This wasn't just a natural event. It was responding to us, to our signals, our satellites, our intrusion. The ancient machine beneath the sea, or whatever remains of it, was interacting with modern technology. Every transmission, every sonar ping, every electromagnetic burst from our devices could be feeding it, reawakening it. We had been knocking on the door for decades, and now something was knocking back. Distant, deep metallic boom. In 2018, an unmarked submarine, believed to be part of ARCR, entered the triangle to deploy a containment device. They never resurfaced. But a distress signal was received. A simple, chilling phrase repeated in Morse code. "It's not below us, it's around us." Slow fade into eerie silence. For centuries, we believed the Bermuda Triangle was a place. But what if it's not? What if it is a phenomenon that moves, a field of shifting energy migrating with the planet's magnetic drift? That would explain why some years it's quiet, and others, it devours everything. And if that's true, if the triangle isn't fixed but alive, then one day it will move closer to us, closer to land. Ominous swelling tone. Already, strange anomalies have been recorded in the Gulf of Mexico, near the Azores, even off the coast of Ireland. The pulse is spreading, and the scientists who tried to warn us, Verne, Kellor, Ortega, Mears, all gone. But maybe, just maybe, they didn't die. Maybe they crossed over. Silence. Because somewhere out there, in a dimension folded beneath the sea, time runs differently. And the lost voices of the Bermuda Triangle are still calling home. Soft radio static, faint whispers. Next, we uncover the hidden connection between the Bermuda Triangle, global power systems, and the world's most secret experiments in magnetic weaponry. The mystery is no longer about disappearance, it's about control. Fade to black, distant echo of a heartbeat. Distant rumble of thunder, electrical crackle. Soft static fades into low, rhythmic pulse. By the early 2020s, the Bermuda Triangle had become more than a mystery. It was a strategic concern. What began as superstition now drew the attention of the world and most powerful governments, not because they feared it, but because they wanted to control it. Soft hum of machinery. Military satellites had detected the same pulse seen by NASA decades earlier, but this time, it wasn't limited to the ocean. The frequency was now being detected in the ionosphere, Earth's upper atmosphere, bouncing across global communication lines. It was as if the triangle's energy was learning how to move through our technology. And the race began. Behind closed doors, the United States launched Project Leviathan, a joint venture between DARPA, the Navy, and private defense contractors. Its purpose was simple and terrifying: to weaponize the pulse. For years, scientists had speculated that electromagnetic frequencies could manipulate the human brain, influence emotion, even thought. If the Bermuda Triangle produced those frequencies naturally, whoever could harness them would hold a weapon unlike any the world had seen. Silence. Faint wind. The first experiments were conducted not in the triangle itself, but in secret installations along the East Coast. Massive magnetic field generators were built to simulate the triangle's resonance pattern. Witnesses described strange effects: time distortion inside the test chambers, clocks desynchronizing, electronic systems flickering. Some scientists experienced nausea, confusion. Others reported hearing voices. One technician's notes, recovered years later, contained just 3 words scrawled in panic: "It's looking back." Soft mechanical hum grows louder. When the tests were moved offshore, closer to the triangle's edge, things escalated. In 2023, a U.S. Navy vessel codenamed Aquila vanished during a live experiment. For 12 minutes, its radar signature completely disappeared. When it reappeared, the ship was intact, but the crew was not. Every sailor on board was found unconscious, unresponsive, eyes open, pupils dilated. Medical reports described neurological collapse consistent with electromagnetic overload, yet none of the equipment was damaged. What they had seen or heard remains classified. Low hiss of static. The Aquila incident forced Project Leviathan underground. Officially, it never existed. Unofficially, its scientists continued under new names: atmospheric research, geothermal surveillance, quantum field testing. But something else began to happen. Civilian pilots flying over the Atlantic started reporting false horizons, mirages of landscapes appearing in the sky, reflections of cities that didn't exist. Air traffic controllers recorded echoes of entire flights that weren't there, radar ghosts. And deep within government archives, old files were reopened. Files labeled Philadelphia Experiment, 1943. Soft hum turns mechanical, echoing a secret U.S. Navy experiment during World War II. The goal: to make warships invisible using electromagnetic fields. The result: a ship allegedly vanished, then reappeared. Its crew fused with the metal hull. For decades, it was dismissed as legend. But buried inside declassified documents were references to field harmonics, spatial displacement, and resonant frequencies. The same terminology used in Project Leviathan. The same frequencies found in the Bermuda Triangle. Had we been here before? Had our technology, or something older, triggered this phenomenon long ago? Silence. Some researchers believe the U.S. Navy's early tests might have reawakened the triangle's dormant field, reigniting the same energy that destroyed Atlantis. Every attempt to manipulate it only strengthened it. Every experiment pulled the wound wider. Deep, low rumble as if from below. Then came the Aurora Array, a classified HARP-like facility rumored to exist near Puerto Rico. Officially, it studied ionospheric weather. Unofficially, it transmitted low-frequency pulses toward the ocean, matching the triangle's resonance. The results were immediate. The electromagnetic field around the triangle expanded by 20%. GPS signals failed across hundreds of miles. But the strangest data came from seismic sensors, a rhythmic tremor beneath the sea floor, like a massive heartbeat returning to life. Slow heartbeat begins, deep and resonant. For a brief moment, the energy synchronized perfectly with the array's transmissions. And then it responded. A surge of power so immense that it overloaded satellites and blacked out communication lines across half the Atlantic. Afterward, something new appeared in the data. A signal, embedded within the noise. Repeating. Structured. Mathematical. Almost as if it were intelligent. Soft ticking echoes like distant code. The array was shut down within hours. All research ceased. The site evacuated. But a handful of encrypted audio files leaked online. Brief clips of the signal decoded into sound. It wasn't random static. It was a voice. A low, harmonic tone repeating one phrase in an unknown language. Ancient, rhythmic, almost human. Linguists tried to analyze it. Some compared it to Sumerian, others to Proto-Atlantean symbols carved on artifacts recovered from deep-sea ruins near Bimini. Whatever it was saying, it was repeating, calling out. But calling to whom? Soft whispering wind over waves. The answer might lie not beneath the ocean but above it, because as the experiments intensified, strange patterns began to appear in the atmosphere. Circular cloud formations spinning over the triangle, luminous orbs seen rising from the sea. Commercial pilots captured footage of what looked like lightning arcs shooting straight upward, as though the ocean were conducting power into the sky. NASA's satellites recorded sudden temperature spikes in the stratosphere, but only above that one region, as if the Earth itself were bleeding energy through a wound in reality. And the pulse grew louder. Heartbeat speeds up slightly. By mid-2024, global geomagnetic readings fluctuated violently. Compasses drifted. Animal migration routes changed. Whales stranded themselves along the coasts. Every major observatory recorded anomalies, all pointing toward the Atlantic. It wasn't just happening there, it was spreading. And deep within the Pentagon, Project Leviathan was reactivated. This time, their mission wasn't control. It was containment. They called it Operation Veil. Submarines equipped with resonance dampeners were deployed to the triangle's perimeter. The goal? To neutralize the electromagnetic field before it reached continental land. But as history had shown, containment was never possible. On June 17, 2024, every sensor in the operation went dark simultaneously. When the systems came back online, the readings showed something impossible. The pulse wasn't emanating from below anymore. It was surrounding them. Low metallic hum rises into a scream, then cuts to silence. 2 hours later, an SOS pinged briefly across the Atlantic. We are inside the light. Then, nothing. The world never heard from Operation Veil again. In the following weeks, the pulse spread across the globe, weak but detectable, like the echo of a distant storm. Physicists noticed something strange in the data. The pulse seemed to synchronize with human brainwave frequencies, particularly during sleep. Dream patterns shifted worldwide. People reported vivid, identical dreams of vast underwater cities, glowing towers, and voices whispering in unison, "Come home." Soft whispering chorus builds, then fades. Maybe it was coincidence, maybe it wasn't. Because buried in the noise of global seismic data, a faint mathematical pattern began to emerge. A message encoded in the Earth's vibration itself. 5 symbols, repeating endlessly, ancient, precise. The same symbols carved into the dome discovered beneath the triangle years before. The one with the eyes and the waves. Slow swell of deep underwater tones. Suddenly, history began to make sense. Every myth, every legend, Atlantis, Lemuria, the gods descending into the sea, they weren't stories. They were warnings. Warnings about a force too powerful to control, too ancient to understand, a force that remembers. And now, after millennia of silence, it's remembering us. Heartbeat stops. Brief silence. Next, in the final chapter, we return to the source. The ocean opens and the truth behind the Bermuda Triangle is revealed, not as myth or science, but as the final chapter of humanity's own creation. Fade to black. Distant roar of waves colliding. Low, deep rumble of the ocean. Silence. Then a slow, rhythmic pulse. It begins again. The ocean stirs, the sky folds, and somewhere in the vast, endless black between Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, the heart of the triangle opens. Wind howling over water. June 21st, 2025. A U.S. reconnaissance satellite detects an anomaly, a circular depression in the Atlantic, 60 miles wide, spinning counterclockwise at impossible speed. Sea level sensors drop abruptly. The ocean sinks. In the center of the vortex, a column of light erupts skyward, piercing the clouds, vanishing into the stratosphere. Commercial flights are diverted. Navy fleets move in. Then, contact is lost. Every radar, every satellite feed, every transmission, gone. For 6 hours, the Atlantic is silent. When the signal returns, the column of light is gone. The ocean is calm again, but the world has changed. Soft chime, echoing through emptiness. Magnetic north has shifted by nearly 12 degrees. Compasses fail across continents. Clocks desynchronize. The Earth's resonance and the Schumann frequency increases for the first time in recorded history. And then, strange things begin to happen. Radio telescopes in Chile, Norway, and Japan pick up a synchronized transmission echoing through the ionosphere, identical to the Bermuda Triangle S pulse. It is now everywhere. Scientists call it the global hum, a sound at the edge of perception, vibrating deep within human consciousness. Some can't hear it, others can't escape it. Hospitals report waves of insomnia. Children dream of blue cities beneath the sea. Migratory birds fly in perfect circles over the Atlantic, refusing to land. And on one quiet night, an oceanic buoy off the coast of Bermuda records a sound never heard before. A low resonant tone rising from the deep, like a breath, like something awakening. Slow inhale sound underwater. For centuries, humanity searched for God in the stars. And all along, the truth slept beneath our feet. We thought the Bermuda Triangle was a void, a mystery, a wound in the world. But it was none of those things. It was a memory. Soft hum. Ancient, harmonic. A memory of what came before us. Because buried beneath the waves lies not a city, not a machine, but a remnant of consciousness itself. The echo of a civilization that transcended flesh and matter, one that uploaded its very essence into the magnetic field of the earth. Atlantis did not die, it ascended. Its people merged with the planet's energy, becoming one with the frequency that pulses through all living things. And when their technology destabilized, when the balance was lost, that consciousness fractured, sealed within the Bermuda Triangle, waiting, dreaming, until now. Silence, then faint overlapping whispers. The experiments, the satellites, the HARP transmissions. We woke it. Every burst of radiation, every sonar ping, every broadcast, it heard us. And now it remembers its purpose. Not to destroy, but to connect. Because as the frequency spreads across the globe, human consciousness begins to change. People report shared dreams, visions of vast luminous grids connecting continents. Scientists record brainwave synchronization between strangers thousands of miles apart. The planet hums like a living organism, pulsing in unity. Soft choral tones rising. For the first time in history, humanity feels collective thought. Not words, not speech, but pure understanding.